self-care is not selfish. It's actually the biggest part of showing love that you could offer to your family, your friends, and your community.
As women, we nurture and take care of the world. And so it's just so important to make your health, your self-care numero uno. So
get around people who are going where you want to go and who are where you want to be. And that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be in real estate, so I got around people who were doing things in real estate that I wanted to do.
So you might not be able to move things around or change what happened to you, but if you can change the way that you see it and how you're reacting to it, there's a way.
Just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 in the morning and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do.
You don't want the government to dictate or a judge to dictate how your hard-earned sacrifice and wealth gets distributed to your family and your loved ones.
Our culture is embedded in American culture. There are people who come to America and engage in American culture, which is Black culture. So Juneteenth is really about Black culture, and it's about celebrating us, celebrating the different diasporas of Black people, even the dialects.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome and happy Thursday, everyone. It is the 1st of September. Woo! So we are in the last month of the third quarter. I'm always talking, I know this business jargon stuff, but that's exactly what we are all about elevating us as a people. And we got to learn these things. Every 3 months is considered a quarter especially within business cycles. And if you are doing anything around business, you should be operating or soloing how you do it based on quarters. So this is the last month in this quarter, and October starts the last quarter of the season. So a lot of people will understand a little bit more when I talk about like Black Friday and when things like that come up. So really what Black Friday is an opportunity for a business to kind of catch up for time that they may have missed from the beginning of that quarter. Because usually October is a little of a slow season. And then November, December, that's when things start to pick up. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. But we are going to be talking today with one of our businesses, and I'm really excited about that. We have a number of things that we are rolling out this year. So, this month, this last month of the quarter. So we want to get some feedback from you and see how it goes with our Lunch and Learn, trying some new things. We've been doing some research and seeing how things are operating in other spaces. And so we want to be bringing real content to you all. We also want to make sure that we are staying present to what's happening in the world, because there is a lot that is happening in the world. And if you are joining us, we want to make sure that you are privy to it as well. So we're going to start off. We have a clip of some things that are going on right now where we're talking about our president, our Presidente, and how he is sharing information on tariffs. And how some of these tariffs, some of these things are affecting us or may be affecting us in the community. So we can bring that up and share that. And then I'll come back and I want to get your thoughts and your feedback on it.
Says the US may have to unwind trade deals with the EU, Japan and South Korea if the Supreme Court rules against it on tariffs. The US president says his administration will ask justices to reverse an appeals court ruling that found many of the duties he imposed were illegal. It's the first time he's suggested the case could derail the trade deals, which were negotiated separately from the tariffs.
Our country has a chance to be unbelievably rich again, but it can also be unbelievably poor again. If we don't win that case, our country is going to suffer so greatly.
Analysts said the comments appeared intended to put pressure on justices before they consider the case. The Supreme Court has a 6-3 majority of Republican-appointed members. That could boost Trump's chances of getting the verdict he wants, but it's far from guaranteed. Legal experts say it's hard to call what will happen, given the unprecedented nature of the case. The appeals court ruling focused on Trump's so-called reciprocal tariffs, as well as separate duties imposed in February on China, Canada and Mexico. It excludes other levies, such as those on imported metals, which have a different legal basis.
All right. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think the tariffs are going to make us rich again? Or do you think that these tariffs are going to continue to be a challenge, and especially a lot of our businesses who may get products from overseas? So, if y'all are not sure or understand what a tariff is a tax on imports. It's when anything is coming from other countries. So, a lot of our businesses, people who do stuff on Shein and all of those kind of things, or get things from Shein, they are tariffed. They have taxes that are coming in that are being charged on it. So before we didn't have any because there was a reciprocity when we go out, when things come in, that it was known, the tariffs were very low. So now we are putting these tariffs on goods like steel, electronics, clothing, which makes foreign products more expensive, which in turn, what he hopes is that will then force us to purchase products more internally and not go outside. Does this make us rich again? I don't know. I feel like tariffs do encourage people to purchase more U.S. products, but I feel like that also continues to, when it creates a monopoly, right? And that's one of the things that in the US, we're so against creating monopolies. However, we want to be a monopoly. And I find that is interesting to talk about and to be in a space about. Now, is this something that's a poor idea? It could be. Consumers don't want to pay high prices. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are trying to start their own businesses. So being able to afford the products, being able to not have, have these high prices for their products is going to be a challenge. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about today for sure with our guest on today is about pricing, right? We have our products, we have our food, we have items that we're trying to sell, and then we get that, oh, this is so expensive. And it's like, yeah, but all of the prices are going up everywhere. Do you say, oh, it's so expensive when you got to pay the gas bill, the light bill? Oh, I definitely do. Personally, I do, because I've been looking at my gas bill, my light bill, I'm like, what is this? But even some of those things are coming from other places, right? So just thinking about that, I want us to be conscious of what we are purchasing. We're still on this target band where we are not, where we're going against what they are doing. And more people are coming on board. I saw the Board of Education in New York City has now gotten on board with not shopping at Target. So this is, again, another win for the Black community. So continue to keep doing what we're doing, family. This is, it's a slow and steady race. It's not something that we're going to get to the end real fast, but we do have to stay, as we consider, woke about what's going on so that we are not bamboozled at the end. All right, I'm going to give my soapbox. That's one of the new things that we wanted to institute and kind of share, is really just talking about some about this education and learning a little bit and how it affects us and our communities. Because a lot of times we're like, oh, it doesn't affect us, so I don't really care about it. And it's like, it absolutely does. Everything, every decision that is being made in the world absolutely affects us. So we have to pay attention. We have to be a part of it so that we can make sure that we are making the best and informed decisions, especially as election season is about to come up, and that's something that we need to know and understand, so we're making the right decisions. So I am going to bring on our first guest for today. So we're really excited to have him. I met him this year was my first year meeting him, but he is such a pleasure. Like, he is such a sweetheart in everything that he does, who and what he embodies. He is very much business oriented, and I think I was able to connect him in a couple of different ways throughout this season. He signed on to be a Juneteenth vendor, and he took the opportunity by storm. Like, it was just took it and kind of ran with it in so many different spaces. And he was like, yeah, I make the best shrimp. Like, you just got to come and taste it. And I was like, okay. And he's like, no, you just got to come and taste it. So like, I drove all the way over to where his location is. And he came and he bought me and my mother and my daughter. He bought us a little basket down. And I will tell you this. We all was like, so that's it? Like, you just going to tease us and you just going to leave us like that? And that's it. It was really good. It was good. And I'm a foodie. So, I'm not going to sit there and lie to you, because if something is bad, I'm like, bro, you need to put some seasoning on this. Like, maybe you need to change it. It was cold cooked. Like, no, it was perfect in every way. So, who am I bringing to the table today? This session is about passion on a plate, as I was just talking about. Some shrimp on a plate, some seasoning on a plate, passion on a plate, family in a recipe, and the power of turning hustle into heritage. Come on now. I'm ready for this one. We're driving into the story of how one man transformed seafood into a symbol of resilience, community, and creativity. That's another thing. We had a whole conversation, and we're going to talk about this too, because he was telling me about some eggs in a seafood boil. I was like, eggs? I ain't never heard about no egg in a seafood boil. And every time I say that, he backstage now like, oh my gosh, we really talking about this? Absolutely. So he does the bomb seafood boil. This man is Chef Jen. Welcome. Come on the screen. A Brooklyn-based culinary entrepreneur and the visionary behind Flavor Seafood, a mobile food venture that's taken New York City by storm. He has a Southern background, right? So his garlic shrimp and soul food sea bag boil is the bomb. Okay, when I tell you. I'm sitting here now like, dag, I wish I had me some. There's nowhere to get some.
We'll make it happen real soon.
So we're going to have to figure out a way to do some freezer transports down to the South. So Chef Jen is more than a chef. He's a storyteller through flavors, blending his roots in hospitality and grassroots marketing to not just serve food, but to serve the community, which is absolutely a pleasure. I'm always grateful to be in space with somebody who has a similar support and love for the community. So from street corners to collaborations with local businesses and content creators, he's built a brand that as much is about belonging as it is about the butter and the spice. So, Chef, talk to us. Our talk today is about Beaufort to Brooklyn. So we got to start off there. Where is Beaufort? Because I'm not even sure for this.
It's actually known as Beautiful Beaufort. It's a small coastal town. It's closer to Savannah, Georgia than anything else, but it's a nice small town, the Low Country. It's a beautiful place, man. Beautiful place.
Okay. So
have you ever heard of Joe Frazier and Robert Smalls from there, man?
Oh, okay. I will definitely look it up. I got to figure out, next time I go down to Savannah. So when I go down to this area, am I going to expect to get like some good home cooked food like you make up in Brooklyn?
Yes. And there's a lot of people in Beaufort that have way more talent than they give themselves credit for. There's a lot of great people in Beaufort that do great things. I try to influence a few of them to leave Beaufort and go somewhere bigger, and but everything happens in time.
Absolutely. And you paved the way. You started off right, and once they see all your success, then you can come and you can bring them up and you can show them the ropes and show them kind of what to do in that space.
That was I used to deal with a lady named Aisha. I can't remember everything right now. She had a nonprofit project, Freedom 326 or something like that. I can't remember. My apologies, if you're watching this, but I told her when I first got up here after doing my market research and seeing everything that you need to be a vendor, I was like, yo, I would love to do something in Beaufort and, you know, give people the opportunity to come to New York and sell food and see what possibilities can come their way.
Mm. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everything about community. That is so many people, and I always say in our community, we have to do more collaboration over competition because in order for us to really thrive, we have to collaborate. Because people at the top, they don't do that competition stuff. They are absolutely in a space of collaboration. They're like, hey, what resources, what do you have? Let me tell you what I have. Let's see how we can work together to create greatness. And we have to do a lot more of that as well.
Well, you know, in our community, I got this thing where I say we've been brainwashed not to work together.
Mm.
And our community is the only community that will compete with each other versus working with each other. You know, my mother used to tell me stories, God bless her soul, before she passed, that, you know, black people used to look out for one another, they will feed one another. Now she say they kill you if your shoes cleaner than theirs.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, but
Coming
I just
along.
feel like in our community, we have we have a lot of spending power. And if we was a community to stick together, oh my God, just imagine how strong the black community would be.
That would be so ideal. Hopefully we can get to that point. And I'm praying that we're positioning Juneteenth to be the vessel for all of that because we have so many things that we're trying to help people build out so that that is more the process. That we are seeing what bartering looks like and how we can barter with each other for services and resources. How we can understand more about how to get back to the things that we lost. It's so funny. I was talking to somebody last week, and I was like, you know, during slavery, we were the ones that we did all of the building of the building.
Everything,
We did
everything.
all the sharecropping, the managing the cattle, the all of the farm animals. And I'm like, and right now, we the ones that don't know how to do, most of us don't know how to do any of that. Like if we were to be thrown, like I know if I was to be thrown to the wolves, I would probably not survive. So I don't
You know,
know about you, but
listen. I think if it's a group of us and we need to survive, we'll all figure out what everybody is strong suited in and just make it work. But I tell you one thing, if we go get that cow or a pig or whatever we catch, you give me a rock and a dull piece of whatever, I'm gonna make sure we eat. I'm gonna start the fire too.
come on, that's what I'm talking about. That's the one. So let's talk about foods. Let's jump in. So first of all, you got to talk to us about this butter, right? What about this? What is it about this butter? Because like I said, I don't know what you did with this butter. First of all, it wasn't watery. So like most butters that I experience, it'd be like water, like it'd be like 70% water and then like what is it, 30% butter or whatever, oil. So it kind of the flavoring, it definitely changes the property of the flavor and it doesn't give it like it doesn't stick. It doesn't stay on the food that is on. So talk to us about like what do you do with this butter? Like how do you do that? How do
All
you do
right,
what you do?
well, I don't steal valor, and the butter was actually a love child of my business partner, and she would eat this butter every weekend. We would go to Savannah get crabs, and one day I'm like, "Yo, let me taste it." And I tasted it, and I'm like, "Oh my God," you know. And throughout a process of me just being like, "Yo, let's use this butter instead of that butter," and then just letting it come together. Like I'm big on two ingredient butter, just cream and salt. Like I've
Mm,
worked in some restaurants where they give people butter flavored oil with their seafood, and I've worked in some restaurants where they will churn their own butter. So
mhm,
I've worked places where I got the best of both worlds, and the butter is very simple. It's very simple. I used to my executive sous chef at the Westin. told me simple yet elevate. So I keep everything simple, and we just make sure the ratio is where it needs to be. And we just simple works better than everything, and you can't really lose. Now this butter, I am working to get it on our new website, flavorseafood.com. This butter is good for way more than seafood. I gotta work on the packaging to let people know that, but it's great for seafood, but it's good on everything.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm looking forward to trying to get a hold of a little bit of this butter. I'm just thinking about some nice old biscuits in butter. So, I'm even thinking about you pull a nice glaze of butter over macaroni and cheese after you just finish cooking it. All right, I'm making myself hungry. I'm thinking about Thanksgiving. I was talking about it earlier, and my mind just started, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. Like I don't put this butter on chicken, lamb, steak. But I ain't never think about glazing it on some macaroni and cheese.
Oh, come on now. Look, just give me my 10% on that one. That's all I ask.
Hey, well, listen. First of all, you gotta sign the papers first, because I don't know. Let's give you 10%. Really? I feel like people be asking me, Chris, do you want a restaurant? Do you want a food truck? And I'd be like, nah, I'm thinking much bigger than that. And they'd be like, what's bigger than a restaurant or food truck? And I say, listen, I got the best garlic shrimp a lot of people never had. So if I can get this butter in the stores or on the website, that's going to be way bigger and more lucrative long run. What's the point of having 13 items out of one location when you can sell one item out of 13,000 locations?
Absolutely. Come on now, Chris. I'm loving this. So talk to us about your earliest memories of cooking, because you sound to be very passionate about just food overall. And where does this whole idea of cooking even stand for you? What influenced you?
It all started with my mother. My mother, she was a well-known cook. She grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and when we was in New York, she would always make even though it was just me, my sister, and my two nephews, and my big brother, I used to come and go as he pleased. She will always make a lot of food. And when I tell people I've been in the kitchen since I was eye level with the stove, I've been watching my mother. I remember I used to help her season the chicken. I lived in the kitchen. I remember the first time I got my first injury from food at a cookout where I stepped on a hot piece of charcoal because I was too close to the grill where I didn't need to be. But I've always been around food. I've always loved food. My first job was in food. And even though I've done other things in my life, food has always been there. And I credit my mother for that. And then I found out, my daddy, well, I don't know, because a lot of us young black men don't really know our fathers from the 80s and all that. But I found out that my father was supposedly a cook, or the cook, at Junior's in Brooklyn back in the day. I really couldn't get no information to what's they not justify it, but confirm
Validate.
it. Yeah, to confirm it. But I even went down there, asked about him. Try to show a couple pictures, but because maybe I really wanted to know. But I never found out. But they always said he worked there, so I figured like it must have just always been in my blood.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So now you talk about foods, but why seafood? Like what's the crux of seafood? Like why is seafood the focus for your business?
All right, so Hilton Head, South Carolina,
Okay.
Beaufort, South Carolina, Bluffton, South Carolina. That's where I learned to cook, right? And right before COVID hit, I started this thing called Amazing Catering, to where I would do like chicken, rice, and a lot of different lunches. I had my little paper route, as I would called it back then. And it honestly, it did good, but it didn't do well. And one day I said, you know what? we're gonna start doing seafood. I made a post, said, hey, if you want to try this plate for free, come and get it. First come, first serve. Somebody came, they got it, made a post about it, let people know it was good, and then the seafood took off from there. So to get back to your question, seafood is because down there is a very coastal town. There's a lot of fresh seafood. It's way more supply than there is demand. And if you got good seafood in Beaufort, South Carolina, and you give people their money's worth, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
So seafood, because of the South. Now you was giving away free seafood? Like you just giving away free plates of seafood.
nah. It was one plate, and I remember her name. It was Darnella Jones. I'll never forget it. She got the plate and she said, y'all, this food is good. You know, y'all should try him out next week. And it just went from there. You know, seafood is a comfort food to a lot of people. And if you can cook that seafood the right way, people will travel for it.
Mm-hmm.
But people travel for all type of food, but for some reason, seafood got a special place in a lot of people's heart, and I'm right there.
Absolutely. I remember I had a friend, and we did a seafood boil. This was before COVID, and like this was before New York blew up with all these seafood restaurants and all of these boiled things. There was none of that happening. So we had just put it out there. We just put it out on Eventbrite, and within an hour, it was sold out. And we was like, are these real people? We was like, these not real people, like, but people paid. Like, this was money that got paid. Like, it wasn't free. And we were sold out. And so we had the date. It was a line like all the way down the block. And I was like, yo, like, this is the thing. So, like, to your point, people who leave the South and they come up north, they got into this experience where it was like, I can't find the same type of food, the element, the flavoring is not the same. Like it is and that's why all these trips down to Baltimore Crab Fest and all of these down to New Orleans to get your crab boils and stuff like that came about.
Hey, I just want to say one thing, man. You know, for the people that say Baltimore or Maryland got the best crabs, I just want to let all of y'all know all of their crabs are not caught in Maryland. They send refrigerated trucks to Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Louisiana to get the crabs and bring them back to Maryland. Maryland is number one for that sells crabs, but they're not the number one producer of crabs. And I just wanted to put that out there because when you out there in Maryland and you eating them good crabs, just know it's a good chance they came from below the Mason-Dixon line. And that's because the water is different down there. Like I don't like buying fresh fish in New York. I don't like buying crabs in New York. It just does not taste the same. I totally understand what people say they come from down south. It's not even depends on who cooks it. It's just that raw quality and so a lot of stuff is not the same as it is down there with that salt life, that saltwater life, they call it.
Yeah. So you're touching on want to go into some of the business acumen, right? What you experience as a entrepreneur in this space. And we were just talking about tariffs and how that's gonna affect us eventually. And so I'm even scared to say it because I'm like, hopefully we're not going to do tariffs between states, because I feel like that's what we kind of get into, where it's like each state now is creating tensions amongst each other.
If we did that, it will be a civil that's a sign for a civil breakdown. If there's tariffs between the states, to me, that's a sign of a breakdown in the whole United States government experiment.
Look, I feel like everything right now is we going back to before than we are moving forward. I feel like we're going backwards instead of moving forward. So we might see some divisions start coming down the line. But I say that all to say, In the entrepreneur space, you chose, and you talked about this, like street vending as a tool or a space to kind of start in. What have been some challenges that you have experienced and maybe some lessons that you've learned during that time?
Oh man, where do I start? There's there was a lot of challenges in the beginning, whether it was making sure I had all of the necessary paperwork, making sure that I could find a good spot to set up, uh, dealing with dealing with people in the local community that probably wasn't too excited to see me, a new face. It's been so many challenges, whether it was financial or just dealing with people,
Hmm.
but I call myself the MacGyver of bad situations, where I can just find a solution and keep things going.
And you are, I feel like, very masterful at that. I mean, even for our Black King celebration, I want to thank you publicly again. You were just a sponsor. He was coming in to drop off a contribution for the Black King celebration, and he was like, "Y'all need some help." And we was like, "Yeah." You jumped in and you were like, "All right, we're gonna do this, and I need you to help with that," and blah blah blah. And I was just like, "Yes, thank you." So you take community, and I always say this to people too. I'm like, I'm not just about saying that I'm about community. I'm about being about community, and you definitely embodied that as well, by doing that. So, what role would you say that community plays in your life, in your business?
Right now, I would say that the community plays a large role, because no business could survive without community support,
Mm.
unless you just working off a closed network of people. You need community support, and I try to keep myself aligned with the movers and shakers in the community, and anybody else, like anybody, because at the end of the day, I want people to know me and to know that I'm no stranger to the community, and I'll do what I can do to help the situation. Whether it's game planning, or I say I bring some chicken or something, it's always something that could be done with and for the community. If you want to. Some people just get what they need to get and go.
And keep it moving. Absolutely. They take, and yeah, that's another story, another conversation for another day. Dealing with takers and not pourers into space. So you talked about a couple of things, and one of the things that so when I started my balloon business, I feel like my come up moment was when I got a phone call from Pink, and in Grand and 42nd Street. They were doing a rebranding, and they were like, "We need you to do 400 3-foot balloons, and we need them in a week." And I was like, I ain't never did that before, but I'm gonna find out how to do it, and I'm gonna make it work. And that was my biggest, like, that was my first contract, like corporate contract. I think it was like $10,000 at the time. And so I was just like, wow, like that opened my eyes to like, oh,
The
this is what's possible.
possibility.
Right. And I've been going down that trajectory ever since. So can you share a proudest moment or a milestone that you've had for your business?
Uh, all right. So I knew we started doing this in full time in April. I believe it was April. I left the food service manager job in March. Yeah, so April. And I knew everything was going well, but being how I was tracking everything, I really couldn't tell. But once I started running all the money through the business bank account, and I seen that I had a $5,000 month, I said, wow. I said, yo, if I can do this on the street corner, with just two items on the menu, chicken, shrimp, rice, and sometimes rasta pasta. I said to myself, if I can do this on the street corner with just two menu items and no promotion, imagine what I'll be able to do if I did promotion, had signs and things like that. So I just feel like when I was able to see that number and not just guesstimate, it really opened up my eyes like, yo, Chris, you've been doing this and you've been doing this for a while. You really need to start taking this 100% serious, because once you get all the way, I've been serious about doing what I was doing for a long time, but it's been more of a hustle than more than building a brand. And once I got to New York, I understood the need to build flavors into a brand and not just a hustle.
Hmm. So talk to us a little bit more about what's the difference of building a brand versus just the hustle for a business.
All right, so for me, a hustle, like I've seen people start selling jewelry or selling hats and whatever they were selling at the time. And it was just something that they was doing to just get a little money, probably pay this bill, or get something for their kids, whatever, just a quick hustle. But for me, the brand is to build a brand is to understand that you have more than a hustle. You have a product, you have a
Mm.
service, and you have something that people don't mind paying for, even if it's more than once or you get repeat customers throughout the week. So for me, it started to see, I started to see that the brand, how should I say, the hustle was the food, but the brand was the butter. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that question. I feel
You
like
was
I
just
should have
trying to
been
find a way
prepared.
to put butter in it. You was just trying to find a way to put butter in it.
Hey
So-
man, listen, listen. I want people to know about that butter, man. Listen, I want people to know about that butter. Trust me, I know once I get that butter completed with the right packaging on the website, I know it's going to change not just my life, but everyone that I love and care about
Mm,
lives. But I just know it, I just know it. And then
absolutely.
you said something about the seafood being able to be packaged. I already we already did that. We used to cook the seafood in South Carolina, package it and take it to Virginia and resell it out there, reheat it and resell it. So I just never got the opportunity to get around to actually doing that, but it's possible.
It is. It is. Look, we got frozen clams and with in the pre-sauce butter and all that stuff. So like it definitely is possible to make it happen. Throw it in a microwave or put it in a ball and warm it up. So I'm gonna be holding on to that thought until it comes, or at least until I come back to New York for sure. Um, Talking all of this, right? There's always something that kind of inspires you to kind of keep going, to wake up every morning, to keep doing what we're doing. Like I know the love of the business is one part of it, but what else is your inspiration?
Oh man. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and tell you the honest to God truth, right? So
Okay.
about 12 to 15 years ago, I was not living the best life. Uh
Mm,
Long story short, I had a drug problem. And
mm,
what gets me up every day is knowing that I can be a better person than the man I was before. And
mm.
knowing that if I give, it doesn't even matter about the business. Sometimes it's just about personal growth. And I know if I give 100% of my time, my energy, and my whatever every day, that regardless of the business, it's just going to help me become a better man every day and elevate myself as an individual. So
Yeah.
my biggest motivation other than my kids is my past, because sometimes I just look at myself and be like, wow, Chris, I know your mama ain't here, but I know she's proud of you because you've made a big change in your life and you keep striving for more and you don't get content. And when things get bad, you find a way to push through. And with those qualities, how can you really lose in life?
Yeah, absolutely. And not for nothing, that is the epitome of entrepreneurship. And that's resilience, being able to get hit with different things, different issues, because they're always going to come. Like anything that you do, anything that you put yourself towards is going to have opposition. But it's being able to push through that opposition and still hold your head up high, still come out on the other side with a smile on your face, even though inside you are crying all the way inside. Because I've definitely been there. So that is the epitome, and you have that, you have the grit. So I definitely commend you, Chris. Like this is this is just a stepping stone. And I can't wait to be on the other side interviewing you or being with you as you're being interviewed and on
There
different
you go. There you
forums.
go. See, next time you're supposed to be sitting right here while Oprah or Gail King talking about. So how did y'all come together and build this brand into a $10 billion company? See, let's manifest that.
I'm here. Look, it's out in the atmosphere. It is in the ethos, and it's recorded. So it has to happen. I'm a firm believer about that. So I got a couple more questions before we start to close out because our hour's almost over. Like time just goes by so fast in this space. What does butter and passion really mean to you, both as a chef and as an entrepreneur?
All right, so the butter for me right now, it just means it just I can't say it means, but it's I look at it as my future. I look at the butter as my future, my kids' future, and I feel like that right there. Usually I can find words so easily, but I just feel like that right there will be the generational curse breaker for my whole family line. And passion, the passion is just that's just that fire in me that keep me going. It could be 2:30 in the morning, we outside, and I'm still right there, ready to go, full of energy. And without the passion, for what I do, I don't think I'll be able to do it. Entrepreneurs go broke so much and deal with so much, and if you don't got the passion for it, that's why they say only the strong survive. So
Absolutely.
you need that passion to do entrepreneurship and almost anything else in life. Without passion, what do you really have to keep you going?
Absolutely. So I know you kind of touched on this, but if you were to pay it forward to our young people, we're at Juneteenth doing some different programs. We were doing mentorship and raising up individuals to understand what entrepreneurship is. If you had the opportunity to speak to some entrepreneurs, some young people who want to be entrepreneurs, what would you say is 2 qualities that they need to make sure that they have?
Determination and perseverance.
Hmm.
Because
Determination and perseverance.
no matter what happens to you, you need to be able to stay determined. You need to be able to be like, what, this is going on, but I still need to get to point B. So how can I find a way around? So you need that determination. And then perseverance, man, if you don't have the strength to keep going, if you don't have you determination and perseverance, because those two right there will keep you going and alive when you feel like you have nothing else left.
Determination and perseverance. When you don't have anything else left, keep going. I love it. So our last question for today is, what does Juneteenth mean to you?
History wise, Juneteenth is the day that we got our freedom. Today wise, I feel like is Juneteenth should be a day that it shouldn't be celebrated just as a day or a week. I feel like Juneteenth is something that we should celebrate every day just like we celebrate. We need to normalize bringing each other together, sticking together, being about community, being about the whole group. And I feel like Juneteenth is about bringing people together, keeping the culture alive, keeping the culture surviving, and making sure our history is not forgotten.
Yeah. I love that. Make sure that history is not forgotten. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here for sure, in so many different respects. Any last words or you have anything coming up that you want to share with everyone before we head out?
I think we covered a lot. I think I had something I wanted to say, but I done forgot about it. Oh man, Flavors of Survival. Okay, so this is a book right here that I've been writing for the past, I would call the book more like manuscripts. So in all honesty, the co-founder of Flavors Seafood was my wife. Right now we're going through an informal separation. And that day when she, when we separated, it really broke a lot in me. And I went from being in my kids' life every day, seeing when they go to sleep, when they wake up, to being in a house alone. And I told myself, instead of writing all my feelings and emotions and stuff on Facebook for free, why don't I just put it in a book, and maybe I can get some finances out of it. But mostly, I know that there's a lot of other black men, or just men in general, that go through loss, and have their business, and the business just goes away because they feel like they lost whatever, the love of their life, or their spouse, or their partner. And I'm not gonna lie, the week of the 25th, because this was recent, and it really hurt. One day you all day crying, the next day you say I got to go outside. And that week really showed me the inner strength that I have, the resiliency. And sometimes you don't really know how strong you are until you need that strength. And this right here, just writing this book has shown me how strong I've gotten over the years. And I'm still writing it right now. I'm gonna put it up on the website for people to go ahead and pre-order. But it's basically all about keeping yourself and your business going through emotional trying times. Because a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we just deal with a lot of business stuff, financial stuff. You go out, you run out of money all the time. But a lot of businesses can fail when the people that's doing the day-to-days are not emotionally stable. And I had to find a way to stable myself and still handle the business. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna put it in a book, let people know how I did it. And if it can help one person, that's all that matters.
Made the difference. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Chef Chris. I appreciate you. This has been great. This has been an amazing session. I've learned so much personally. Thank you for pouring into us today. Pouring a little bit of butter all over everything. Wisdom, your warmth.
Well, listen, let me know when you coming back to New York. And and I heard you say something in the beginning about the egg, and that's what it was. An egg is traditional in a Southern style seafood bag. Like up here in New York, they be asking me, do I put broccoli and pasta in the bag? I be like, oh, like, really? And then I found out that's a New York thing. Cool, I respect it. But when you go down south and you ask for a low country boil bag or a boil bag, you gonna get crab, shrimp, corn, egg, and potato. And that sausage is optional.
Good to know. Look, see that difference that you get that you learn about when you cross
Listen,
state
listen,
lines.
listen. I got a homegirl named Faith, that not Faith, Hope, and she runs a mobile bartending business down there. And her homegirl got another business, event space. They came one night got their crabs and shrimp, but the homegirl wanted some more eggs with the hot butter, which has not even been served in New York yet. We only been going with the regular butter. But the next time I see you, just let me know you in New York, and I'm gonna get you a seafood bag with plenty eggs so you can have the share. Be like, oh, girl, taste this. He was right.
Look, I'm gonna have to talk to you offline about this. My husband is
my number.
Right now, so you may have to make a little something. But thank you again, Chef. It was a pleasure having you. Really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, all your wisdom, all your warmth. You are a true example of what it means to thrive in purpose and in wellness. So I'm gonna see you backstage in a little while, and so we can close. I'm gonna close this out here. Again.
All right. Thank you, Miss Rodney. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. So we can put his information on, share how you can get in contact with him. I know he has a new website up and running, so that he can, you can do some orders on there, do some pickups, pre-orders. And like he said, his book and his butter are going to be on there really soon. So I definitely hope that you patronize. So as we close today's delicious session, the truth lingers like the taste of good seasoning. Food is family. Food is family. Like in our community, we are at the table, and not just the business tables, but we're also at the meal tables. Food is freedom. Food is the future. Chef Chris has shown us that a boiled bag isn't just about shrimp and corn and eggs. It's about legacy. It's about turning struggle into strategy. It's about recipes into revenue. It's about passion. It is about the purpose that we bring to everything that we do. So he is from Beaufort, and he's now in the Brooklyn area. So if you're in Brooklyn and you are looking for some really, really good food, definitely come find him. His story reminds us that our roots feed our rise. And when we mix heritage with hustle, we create more than just a meal, but we are creating a movement. And that's what we're doing here with Juneteenth. We are in the space of creating a movement. There are so many things that are coming down the line in our spaces that we have to be prepared for. Like we shared on today's session, we hope that you continue to follow us and follow our trajectory. Sign up for our newsletters. We're going to be having some workshops. We're going to be having some groups coming up where we're going to be talking about just getting back to basics and what that really looks like in the Black community, so that we can be prepared for these moments, because they're coming. And it's not, if they come, they are coming, and we need to be ready and we need to be prepared for them. So whether you're in the kitchen, you're in business, or in life, remember Chef Shin's recipes start with tradition, add creativity, and season to all that he does. So thank you, Chef, for your story, your flavors, and your vision. And thank you all for joining us on today. And talking about culinary entrepreneurship. We hope that this was something that really blessed your soul and that you were able to walk away with. And I'm going to leave you all with just some extreme love. I need it right now, going through some stuff with my own family. Continue to keep us in prayer. Continue to keep the Juneteenth family in prayer as we are all going through our different challenges. So we are doing things together. That is where unity is present, and that's where we all grow. So thank you all again. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hello, I'm Z Fly, and welcome to the Lavender Project, where hope, support, and education intersect to empower women battling endometrial cancer and its effect it has on the family. After losing my mom in 2013, this relentless disease, I knew I had to make a difference. Lavender is an acronym which stands for Living Effectively, Victoriously, Incredibly, Nutritiously, Dutifully, and Acknowledgingly, which are guiding principles for navigating the journey to recovery. Through fundraising, advocacy, seminars, and community outreach, we aim to equip women with knowledge and resources they need to face this challenge head on. So please explore our page to see our past events and consider making a donation. Together, we can end women's cancer.